Hi there. Jeff Gabriel, domain appraiser extraordinaire, CEO of saw.com. I'm here to give you a domain appraisal that I was asked to do for purepassion.com. And if you want me to do a video appraisal of one of your domain names, send an email to buzz@saw.com. Thank you. Pure passion is kind of an interesting one because it's in the universe, I would say, of common sayings. And when I worked for Frank Schilling at Uniregistry, he had loads of them from like, hey there. One that I really loved was neveragain.com, right? It's a 2-word, kind of like pure passion. And what I really liked about that domain was people would come to it on a regular basis, just get tons of typed in traffic, and people would type in horrible experiences they had at restaurants and hotels. And if you think about it, when those inquiries came in and were distributed to our domain brokerage, it certainly led to a lot of entertainment reading some of those reviews. So I'm going to try to do this one in under 5 minutes. And as always, the first thing I do whenever I appraise a domain name or anyone asks me about a domain name is I'm going to search it, right? So when I searched the domain name, I immediately came up with, and I set some of this up for a quick one here. I searched pure passion as one keyword. And it's interesting how what you get when you search it. So it says, did you mean? So obviously it's 2 words. I search it as one, gives me the AI overview. Then it gives me some ideas of some companies. When I look at these right here, okay, unprocessed personal care products. That's a possibility as an upgrade. They're on the .ca. I'm looking at High on Love. That's using Layer the Love with Pure Passion. Nope, not really. Probably aren't going to like it. Pure Passion Hair. Okay, they probably have a domain, I hope. Pure Passion Collection, not exciting, not seeing a logo there. And there's a few other sparse things, but not a ton. This isn't glowing like it's downtown New York City here. Now I look over at this one. I type in a different way with the space. It's funny how you get different results when you type a domain like this in different ways. Got the Baseball Academy popping now. And now we're looking at the search volume, which this is the United States alone. This is, and I'm not sponsored by them, Ubersuggest. I like this little tool. It's not always right, but it just kind of gives me a feeling. I look at this, I see low cost per click. I see very low search volume, which I would expect on this name. There's not a lot of excitement. I've never really heard this. Me calling it a saying is a bit strange. I'm kind of being nice. But then I searched it also as a domain, and look at this. Here we are. Adam's got it indexed. Great. Good for the seller there. An adult toy site, which I'm not surprised. And look, isn't that funny? Right beneath it is the Christian broadcasting network called Pure Passion, Passion-HD, which is a porn site. Pure Passion, more adult, more related content. So it kind of bounces around a little bit. And then I want to look at, okay, if I'm appraising the domain, I want to understand the market. I want to get a better understanding of, if someone asks me for an appraisal, my attitude is, and the way that I end my appraisals with saying is, in this consistent market within a reasonable amount of time, this is what I think I could get for the domain name if I was given the opportunity to sell it. So I want to start looking for that. Now, I pointed out some other targets. I made a search here. I see here there's a handful of companies, but there's really not much. There's the top one, adult toys. Great. I think that's a good opportunity depending on the size of the company and how big they are and what, no pun intended, but how big their market share is. Passion Capital, maybe. But again, it doesn't really fit exactly the name of their business. That might be a stretch. And then I look at the ones that are potentially developed that I looked into on other extensions. So I found something on the .ru that might be hard to get money from them. I'm looking at different oils. I'm looking at some female lubricant in the Philippines. It looks like they are only in this one area. But it shows some adult stuff. There's some adult stuff. Here's someone's store and products, women's stuff. But I'm not seeing like a lot of these companies, Pure Passion Media, Restored Hope, and Network. I really don't think the Christian group is going to give you a lot of money, but you never know. Purepassion.site. This site looks nice. It looks professional. There could be, some opportunity there. Going through these and seeing that and seeing this market, I see a lot of not just adult, but I also see gym, yoga studios, stuff like that. I'm going to tell you something. I sold a lot of .yoga domains, and they don't have any money. or they don't want to spend any money. And so that's really a hard sell right there. Just looking through here quick, like a bunny, the .fun is okay, and then we got somebody also on it who's forwarding to their LinkedIn page. Maybe this is related to Josh Schoen. Who knows? Anyways, we look at these. Again, not an exciting really group here. And then we want to get into different areas. So I'm going to think about comps. Okay. When I think about comps, again, I kind of put this into popular sayings or common sayings or popular two words together. Pure and passion is not a keyword domain. It's not a product. Again, there are companies which is different than that other two word domain that I appraised before, where I really didn't find any legitimate buyers that I felt would pony up the cash. Here I see a few, and doing some digging, you might be able to find a few, like this restaurant chain. I don't even know what a .ma is. I've never seen that before. But comparing that to some other two-word kind of sayings, okay, and I haven't looked to see their markets, I pulled up some comps that I think are more reasonable. One domain I think is better, before I say the prices, GoodEats, I think is a better domain than purepassion. I think WhoCares is a better name because it's such a common saying, but it's so negative, so I'm not totally sold on that. GrowthFactor is a good name. I think that with an S, it might be better. Self-appointed is okay. BioClinic, clean living, self-sufficient, right? So it just is those two words that aren't really specific to anything. They invoke different feelings and can focus in certain areas. This one is kind of adult. I don't think this would be great in the porn business because they want more, usually the hardcore kind of stuff. But again, sports is okay. We saw this demonstrated in some other areas, and we did see some relatively qualified people. So the value on GoodEats is 15K. WhoCares is 15. These are sales. GrowthFactor 10. Self-appointed 8. BioClinic 9,700. Clean Living 9,100 or 200. I can't read my writing. And Self-Sufficient's 8,600. I think that you should list it between 15,000, 16,000, or price it at that. And I said, I would say if you got an offer between 7 and 10K, I'd probably seriously consider taking it. That's my advice. Jeff Gabriel, have a good day. Thanks for listening.